The zombies are here! I'm Kat, and I'll be telling you about the current zombie apocalypse. The definition of zombie is a human that technically isn't alive and tries to infect you and make you one of them. Swap out the word human for organism, a more general term, and you've just uncovered the fact that the zombie apocalypse is happening right now, and has been since the dawn of life on Earth, without you knowing. These zombies, to be more specific, aren't fast zombies, they aren't slow zombies. They're even more terrifying. They're sneaky ninja zombies. These zombies are more commonly known as viruses. When the average person hears the word virus, they often think of a cough or a cold, but viruses are so much more, and yet so simple. Just like the zombie stereotype, they don't have brains. In fact, they're even simpler than you probably thought. Think of all the specified cells, all the processes they individually go through, and all the systems that require your cells and organs to work together. Each cell has its own set of mini organs called organelles, allowing it to function. Each organelle goes through its own processes to help it function and contribute to keeping the cell alive. The DNA in the nucleus gets copied and turned into RNA, which is turned into protein and enzymes. All this works together. Your organelles performing processes so your cells can function, so your tissues can function, so your organs can function, so your body can function. Our bodies are really complicated. A virus is just a shell made of protein with some genetic material inside. That's it. That's all a virus is. Technically, viruses aren't even alive. I mean, they just sit there. It's not like they can do much until they come into contact with a cell. Commonly, viruses cause diseases such as the flu or cancer. What happens on a molecular level is viruses ninja their way into your system. There are multiple ways a virus can do this. A virus can get into your cell by tricking the cell into thinking it's a necessary nutrient. The cell would then swallow the virus. The next step for the virus is hijacking the cell's machinery. The virus releases its genetic information into the cell, which goes to the nucleus where the cell's genetic material is stored. Then, depending on whether the virus's material is in the form of RNA or DNA, some of the DNA gets made into RNA and some gets copied. Some of the RNA gets copied and some gets made into protein. The protein forms a shell or capsule around the copied RNA or DNA, and thus a virus ninja clone is created. The cell naturally does transcription and translation, the processes just described, for its own benefit, minus the virus clone part. So when a virus comes along and hijacks the cell's machinery, the cell often dies because it can't produce its own protein anymore. The virus makes millions of copies of itself, and the cell eventually dies, and its plasma membrane, the membrane controlling what goes in and out of the cell and keeps the cell together, dissolves, and all the viruses are released to go infect other cells. Another way of the viruses getting out is, if the cell hasn't died yet, but the viruses are done copying, the viruses can trick their way out just like they tricked their way in. Sometimes when this happens, the virus pulls part of the cell's membrane with it, and comes out surrounded with a coating of the cell's membrane. This membrane can act as a disguise, because now the virus looks like a cell. All the virus has to do is fuse membranes with another cell and enter that way. If an organism has a hard outer membrane, such as bacteria, viruses can't just pass through. They have to fuse membranes and inject their information while the virus just hangs out outside the bacterium. Sometimes when the virus's genetic information gets copied or turned into RNA, the virus's genetic information gets swapped for sections of the cells. 5 to 8% of your DNA right now is viral DNA. Creepy much? Anyway, viruses have a lot of uses in the world today, especially in medicine. Viruses are used as a carrier of medicine to target cells in hard-to-reach places. Viruses can also be used to destroy target organisms, such as pathogenic bacteria, a type of bacteria that causes disease or infection. Viruses are widely used in genetics research, in gene therapy, and to help us learn more about cell processes. If you ever go to the doctor for a shot, called a vaccine, meant to protect you from diseases, you might want to know that that shot contains weakened or dead viruses. Because the viruses aren't strong enough to hurt you or make you sick, they show your immune system what to look out for. That way, if a virus infects you for real, your immune system would know how to fight it. Viruses are also useful for non-medical reasons. They help optimize plants and animals by acting as carriers of modified genomes. They are also used in pest control because they can target specific pests and produce long-lasting effects. Additionally, viruses have been recognized as inherently less toxic than conventional pesticides. All these non-medical uses seem trivial, but viruses can also be dangerous. Viruses have the capacity to cause death and devastation to large populations in epidemics and pandemics, and they could become an extremely dangerous weapon of destruction. This has led to the concern that viruses could be used for biological warfare. But then again, pretty much anything can be turned into a weapon. Even a cheeseburger flying at a high velocity could be considered dangerous. In conclusion, viruses are freaking ninjas. They sneak into your system, hijack your machinery to make tons of clone ninjas, sneak out and infect something else. They have the capability not only to seek out, but destroy target cells and organisms. They're widely used in medicine and have the potential to be dangerous weaponry for biological warfare. Viruses can do all of this, and they aren't even alive. Obviously, viruses are zombie ninjas. Thank you for watching.